Hey everyone, Mike again with Patriot Ridge Farm. Wanted to get one more video on here about the mine land here. So they've been down here doing some surveying. They got stakes and flags up. I expect them to be moving in here next week. They've got a lot of this stuff here to brush hog, get all this brush out of the way and everything like that. Pretty much all the way down through, and that way they can get in here and do their grade and everything. So what I want to do is get a little bit more in depth about the water here in the ponds, kind of explain this. So this is the first pond where all the mine water is diverted to. And the reason it's so long is because as it comes out up here at the head and off to the side over here, when the water enters the pond, it's in the pond for a longer period of time before it makes it down here to the spillway. And that allows the metals and stuff to drop out of this. So one of the big things with acid mine water is because of the oxidation of the heavy metals that the water flows and comes in contact with. So that's where you get the acidity at, is basically like the ferric and the ferrous iron here, like we talked about, it gives it that orange color. When that reaches atmospheric oxygen, it oxidizes or rusts, and that produces an acid. I think it's like a sulfide type acid, and that's why you get what's called acid mine drainage. But so this is the first pond, this is the settling pond. That's why, again, it's so long, because as the water enters in up there from that outlet and the one coming off to the side, it's in this pond for a longer period of time before it makes it down here to the spillway. Now they originally, when they built these, they put these little dams in here that they could adjust the water level if they needed the water to stay in there longer, in the pond longer, raise the water level and everything before it would come over into this spillway. I've never seen it since I've had the property. They've never used anything in there to kind of help slow the flow of water. But there's a concrete spillway through here. You can see again that notorious orange color. I'll just walk you around here. I'm not going to walk all the way down that spillway. But it curves around. They put these culverts in to allow me to get in here in between the ponds, because they basically produced islands when they first did this. It flows through there, goes all the way to the end, and then comes out into this next wetland, and I'll show you this. So they're basically little islands in between. You can get access from one side, but not the other. All right, so this is the first wetland, and you can see it's a pretty decent sized wetland. It's just all cattails, goes way back over into there. And as the water comes in up there at that far corner, far left-hand corner, it meanders through here, trickles through here and everything like that. And those metals are attracted to the plant life. So that helps remove a lot of the heavy metals in the water as they come through this. Now there's a total of 5 ponds to recap. So there's the settling pond, 3 wetlands, and then the polishing pond at the end. So this is very, very, very nasty stuff. You don't want to get in this. I wouldn't, not for any money would I jump into there. Because it's probably about chest deep muck and mud at this point. So it comes out of the wetland right over here into that heavy brush, into another spillway. And I'll just walk you along here, show you this. Good content anyway. All right, my fault. Okay, so I'm backwards here. So here's the spillway right here. As it comes down through here. I keep my eye open for snakes too. Another little crossover here. All right, so this is where it comes into this wetland. Now, one of the problems that's happened over the years, and I'll see if I can get some shots of these, they built what they called baffles in there. They're basically wooden walls, treated lumber, wooden walls, and that was to help slow the flow of the water. That might be in the very next one. I don't think it's in this one. But this is pretty much, instead of the water going out and around through all this, it just basically cuts right down through now. So it's created channels over the years as You can see a little bit of water falling over right there, but it's basically just pooled up right here, and then it just kind of flows into there and then goes right out the other side, so it doesn't even hardly get back in there at all. Yes, I was wrong. Okay. I was right. This one does have the baffles in it. As you can see, ouch. Can you see that wall right there? Let me zoom in. See that wall they built through there? They did another one right here. And that was designed to slow the flow of water as it comes into each wetland. But it's just pretty much after all the years of all the sediment building up in here, it just finally created just a channel, and it just runs right down through, pulls up here a little bit, and then runs right out. So to remedy this, they would have to come in and dredge not only the two ponds, but all these wetlands. They'd have to dredge them completely out, completely empty them, dredge them out of all vegetation, all sediment, pull the old plastic liner up, reline it with the heavy plastic, and then bring in a bunch of manure and old hay and stuff like that, put it back in there, get some aquatic plants and stuff like that growing in here again for the water treatment to be effective again. And you can see the size of these wetlands here. That's no small task. All right, move down to the next one. So this is your second wetland here. Water's moving through right there into the culvert. Comes out to this side, pretty much created another pool from the amount of sediment built up in there. It's kind of created almost like its own little dam around there, a little berm. Blackberries all over the place. Oh, don't mind if I do. Oh God, that's a good one. Don't mind me. Just enjoying blackberries. All right, enough blackberries. All right, so this is your third and final wetland here. And you can see just the little channels it's created in here. So this really has no effect, very little if to no effect on anything of the water getting the metals out of it at this point. There's frogs in there. There's a bullfrog. There's even baffles in this pond. There is wetland here as well. All right, and this is the fifth and final pond here. This is what they refer to as the polishing pond. And the water comes out up here in this corner, and if you can see, all that sediment built up right there and all along the bottom here. So it's pretty much ineffective at this point. It gets a little deeper down towards this end because most of the sediment's laying up there about halfway up towards that end. I'll go through the gate here, hold on. All right, and then finally, after it comes out of the settling pond, goes through the 3 wetlands, it comes out into this polishing pond, out here into a concrete slough, and down into the watershed, or down into the tributary, then ultimately into the watershed. Now, when they were doing their water quality testing, every test showed higher concentrations of iron at this last pond coming out here than it did coming out of the mines. And that's because of all the sediment that has built up in the ponds and the wetlands over the years. So it's pretty much just all getting flushed out right here. All right, now ultimately in the end, all of these ponds and wetlands go away. So they will actually drain these ponds, dredge them out. They'll fill them with a layer of rock and stone, and then they'll put dirt over top of it. This road going up through here, this little road, dirt road path, is where the oxidation pools are going to be located. And they're probably, like I said, if I remember right from the plans, they're going to be 20 feet wide, 100 feet long, and about a foot deep. And they'll be put on a grade running downhill, and that way the water will continuously flow, but it'll also have like a ripple effect through it, ripple effect. And what that does is that aerates that water and allows that those heavy metals to continue to drop out as it aerates. It kind of like churns it up. One of the other plans when they first started looking at this site was up here in the very first pond was to put an aerator in it. And that would require them to have to run electricity all the way up through here, which is no easy feat. Once they'd get electric up there, they'd have to build an aerator system, submerge it in the pond, and it would basically turn it into a big jacuzzi. Just bubble, 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 bubble to aerate that water. But with the cost of running electric up through here and everything that they would have to do, I think they'd have to put a 3-phase in for the electric. And then, of course, all the other infrastructure that goes with that, then it was going to be really expensive. And they didn't think that that was going to be as effective as just redoing the whole site. And that way it would all pretty much come out a lot cleaner in the end. So when they first did this back in '97, I mean, the differences, of course, were just crazy compared to what it's reverted back to now. Most of that water coming out at the end down there, hell, there was barely any orange staining at all, if any. But over the years, as that water's continuously flowed through here, it's built up sediment, all the metals and stuff like that to drop out, erosion, of course, and everything like that. So now the ponds are probably not even half as deep as they were. The wetlands are probably about half as deep as they were. And it's just washing the sediment out as the water continues to flow. And yeah, there's that nasty orange color. So this over here, I know you can't see it because of the brush. There's a blue line stream that runs down through there. And it's basically, it's a seasonal stream is what it is. And it's all essentially runoff from all of our property all the way around. Because that blue line stream actually forms way back up on the back at near the head of the hollow up there on our property, and it's just runoff. And there's so many natural springs. This is one of the wettest hills you'll probably find in West Virginia, the amount of springs up here on this property. So even though it's a seasonal spring, you can typically find pools of water all the way up through there, and even in some really shallow places. But this, the blue line stream here is what they refer to it as, is off limits. They can't do anything to alter that or anything in this process, and that's per the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Because Army Corps of Engineers and Fish and Wildlife were involved in the planning of this project. All right, so That gets you a little bit more up close than the last one. I was kind of in a hurry to get that one done, even though it was a longer video. And that's just simply because we were getting ready to go on vacation. And we just got back last Friday, a week ago. And we were gone for, I think, from the 10th to the 21st. And we really enjoyed ourselves. We went to Florida, come back here, and it's actually hotter here than it was in Florida. It was ridiculous. But the problem we ran into with all this vegetation, especially these trees and this brush, is these roots will erode away and it can cause failure in the banks of the ponds. And there was a lot of bigger trees in here when we first bought it, and they contracted a company in to come in and brush hog and clear all that brush. And that was I think 2020, and you can see what it's grown back to since 2020. And I mean, these banks were clear. There wasn't a piece of brush. The grass wasn't just barely over your feet, but now it's completely different. It's all grown up all over again. So that'll definitely make a difference when they come in. Like I said, they drain these ponds out. They'll treat the water as they drain it out, and then they have to divert the water from where it comes in now on top of the ground in pipes and kind of get it over somewhere, and then treat it, let it go through a little treatment process before it goes out into the tributary or the watershed. But it's crazy. There's frogs in here. We had a bunch of beavers in here. Geese, Canadian geese, spent a lot of time down here. So I'm not saying it's not bad water, but it's not, obviously not too terrible if it's supporting life. But again, it's outlived its usefulness at this point. So that's why they're going to have to come in and redo all this. So hopefully next week, looks like they got their stakes and their flags up, got their surveying done, shot their grades and stuff. So next week, I'm assuming they're going to be coming in here and brush hog and clearing all this stuff out of here, and then start moving equipment in. And there's going to be a whole bunch of truckloads of rocks and stuff they're going to be bringing in here, because like I said, all these ponds, after they dredge them, drain them and dredge them, they're going to fill them up so far with stone before they cover them over with dirt. All right, so it is very hot out here. It's very hot. So I will keep you guys, I'll try to follow this process as close as I can. See maybe if I can get one of the guys on here to kind of explain what they're doing and how they're doing things. Maybe you just hear him in the background talking. A lot of people don't like to be videoed, especially when they're contracted. But I'll try to follow this progress as much as I can with you guys on YouTube. I'll definitely be following it personally, so maybe even just a few short few-minute videos on here to get that done. But that's where we stand. Give you an idea of what it looks like now. Excuse me, swallowed a bug. Protein. And show you how it goes as they progress along with the reclamation. All right, that's it. I'm going to the house, get some water. It's hot out here. Stay prepared, stay free. God bless y'all.